Hi, and welcome to this 10-minute presentation of Paper 87, Majority of Target Value Design Implementation in Norwegian Public Building Projects. My name is Gard, and I will be your presenter. Please enjoy. The purpose of this study is to discover and bring awareness of the majority of TVD implementation during the pre-project phase in Norwegian public building projects. Findings in the research are a result of a literature study and the investigation of 5 cases and corresponding 6 semi-structured interviews. The following research question was investigated: how is the TVD majority in the Norwegian construction industry? To be able to answer this question, an analytical framework to evaluate and score the majority was needed. A result of this study is a scorecard specifically developed for this matter. However, this study is based on a limited number of cases and interviews and therefore does not reflect the full majority status of the Norwegian construction industry. Consequently, the findings provide a modest basis for the creation of generalized trends and conclusions. Cost increase through the planning and construction of Norwegian construction projects is a challenge. TVD has received an emergent interest among researchers and practitioners towards avoiding cost overruns and adding value. Previous research has shown that TVD projects are completed 15 to 20% below market cost while maintaining quality and time. Furthermore, the use of the method increased the accuracy of conceptual estimates and lowered the contingency needed for each project. Lastly, the method helped to manage complexity and prevent over-design by focusing on common goals and objectives. Research claimed that the focus of target costing is cost rationalization and not minimization. Allowable cost is the amount the customer is willing and able to pay for a facility with defined performance. Expected cost, on the other hand, corresponds to the cost for a facility with determined performance provided at current best practice. Together, they provide the basis of design. Having knowledge of both cost and value drivers provide the possibility to use and control the decision-making towards maximizing value within project constraints. The specific scorecard was developed based on identified TVD characteristics in cited and well-known articles investigating TVD. A TVD characteristic is defined as an element or an activity which has been identified in the literature to be part of the TVD process. Several of the repeated characteristics in the literature were adapted and merged within the 4 categories: contracting, organizing, defining, which is distinguished between the business case and the validation study, and steering. A natural development of the pre-project aligns the 4 categories chronological. The scores ranges from 0, meaning not implemented, to 3, meaning fully implemented. Based on the author knowledge of the Norwegian construction industry, only a few projects have stated to fully implement these activities. Empirical evidence is based on the comparison of the author's framework to the practical implementation of design principles and methods in the investigated cases. Rankings of the activities and features are presented in the table and visualized in radar plots. Case 4 and 5 illustrates both ends of the scale. More comprehensive analysis with regards to the 4 categories will be presented chronological for all the cases in the following slides. The figure illustrates the expected cost development as reported in the monthly reports from the PM to the client. The current project progress is not differentiated based on actual time left before project delivery. Fragmented graphs are a result of inconsistency in the reporting or variation between different municipalities with regards to reporting routines. Contracting elements create the foundation on which a fully TVD implementation must be based on. In order to completely utilize the competence among the contractors and the designers to maximize value, the contractual arrangements are a necessity. There is a need for incentives in order to achieve necessary focus towards the project as an entirety. Case 1 and 2 practice a 50-50 split of the optimized savings between the client and the contractor. In case 4, the PM challenged the contractor to chase and modify the environmental targets by offering additional payments. Though, as pointed at in case 3, the human relation differs between project organizations independently of contractual arrangements. Besides from case 5, which had a twisted turn during its project development, every case used or at least stated that they should use collaborative methods. For example, case 3 and 4 differs from ordinary public construction projects by granting the PM decision-making authority and therefore the ability to make rapid decisions. But, as stated by the interviewee, the users started to make hasty decisions in collaborative meetings without properly visualizing the consequences of these decisions. Often these decisions had economical effects and changes could easily occur based on short-term solutions on arising issues. In case 5, the user had political influence which created a path to sway the municipality as the client. Different expectations have not been aligned, which resulted in delays and reduction of scope. Characteristics of defining the business case is closely related to the evaluation of choice of concept process within the Oslo municipality investment regime. For example, case 1, 2, and 5 are all based on a 3 years old school needs plan, which include rough cost estimates based on sketches provided in the basis for concept. In other words, the cost estimates, which cannot be compared to AC, are conducted, hence, in a light version of bottom-up estimation. Within the TVD methodology, this process could be conducted top-down by identifying targets. Case 1 conducted a preliminary estimate at the start of the pre-project. This process revealed one of the challenges of conducting an early estimate. The client and the user must even earlier know project-specific elements of importance. Case 3 and 4 are examples of projects where environmental and safety aspects were prioritized before cost. Even so, the stated prioritized outputs in the steering document with regards to the two projects indicated inconsistency. The validation process, which often concurs with the purpose of the pre-project, focus on developing and creating a common understanding among the involved actors of the basis of design, budget, and operation. Target setting is supposedly related to value, but the interviews uncovered that too often decisions are being made purely based on cost. An important element in the evaluation process for case 3 of the delivered tenders was the distance between different function and the residential units within the nursing home. These distances were transformed and calculated based on operational costs. To have a realistic TC, project-specific elements must be compared to its peer groups. Need to have versus nice to have is a statement of great interest which focuses on chasing cost drivers and revealed to be an efficient mean towards achieving cost reduction and to control cost drivers. A specific focus on the value drivers has not been stated, even though the outcomes focus on forward-looking facility and the achievement of climate and energy objectives, just to mention a few. The focus seemed to be at achieving the outputs of cost and time. The purpose of this paper was to explore the use of TVD in the early phases of public building projects and to answer the research question, how is the TVD majority in the Norwegian construction industry? Altogether, these cases have shed light upon different TVD categories and characteristics through the case's early phase. Based on findings in the literature and case studies, TVD majority in the Norwegian construction industry varies, and characteristics within the four categories are only partially implemented, though identifying the current status among the industry as a whole cannot be conducted based on this study only. Enhancing maximum project value is a challenge in some of the cases due to the lack of visualization and the focus on cost reduction. Furthermore, the TVD methodology can be included in the decision-making basis by stating AC based on project constraints and objectives before the pre-project phase. Both the validation and steering must reflect the nice-to-have versus need-to-have mentality. With the conclusion in mind, more research is needed to the root causes to fully understand the implications of adapting a TVD process. Moreover, this focus must be directed to 1. The iterative cost estimation process and a transparent and valid benchmarking. 2. Using a maximum AC based on the client's willingness and ability to pay. And 3. The ability to create a realistic TC. Difficulty is to verify and control if the cost reduction correlates to a reduction in project value is an area of improvement. Lastly, more tests are needed to further validate the developed scorecard. In other words, the journey has barely started. With those words, the presentation has come to an end. Thank you for your attention.